This is hot. Holy fuck.
Jesus.
That is like a full
I know.
Did you bring that cup from home?
That is risky business right there.
You gotta get that ASMR hit.
It's so, like I feel like I haven't seen anyone in the office actually drink out of a legit coffee cup before.
No, it's because
it's usually the foam cups, or they have like a really nice like thermos or something.
Yeah, I wanted to do a coffee cup. All right, Giles, do you know what movie this is from? Terminator.
Is it?
Yeah, this is the company that made Skynet.
Oh, see, that's what came to mind. I was like, no, but it's Skynet. I thought that was the company.
Yep.
I'm an idiot.
I've been wondering that because in the lunchroom, someone was like, Sam, I really appreciate your mug. And
Super
I looked at it
nerdy.
and I'm like, I don't get it.
It's really nerdy. I just have a bunch of mugs from like this that are like corporate mugs of companies that have done horrible things in movies, like the Umbrella Corporation. Like,
Oh, yeah.
yeah. It's just like a normal like corporate style mug.
That's wild. That's kind of cool though. It's clever.
Dunder Mifflin, I've seen those mugs hanging out.
Yeah, they're a horrible company.
Yeah, those guys suck.
Those guys are the worst.
We should maybe talk about podcast stuff.
Oh, are we rolling?
Yeah, Ryan's been rolling. This I'm sure will make it into the B-roll or something.
Anyway, who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah.
Who the fuck are you?
Why are you here?
I guess I'm Jake Spence.
I guess? Wait, is he actually?
Definitely Jake
Okay.
Spence.
Okay.
We got a guest today. It's fun.
Yeah, we do have a guest today.
Yeah.
Previous podcasts, I've hopped in and interjected my BMW opinion for 2 minutes and then bounced out.
Yeah, so we figured instead of you just bopping in all the time, we just had to give you a chair to actually
Full
sit down.
episode.
You guys ready to talk about BMWs?
I think I'm
Absolutely.
ready. I mean, Giles owns one. Should we do like a normal intro here?
Yeah. So welcome to Between the Spokes podcast and Anovia Wheels podcast. I'm Giles.
I'm Sam.
And
I'm Jake.
yeah, Mr. Beamer Street himself.
Yeah.
Let's
Number
go.
one podcast in the world, I heard.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah,
So,
at least.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, we're shooting for the universe next.
Absolutely. So before we go ahead and get into everything,
What can we buy?
we got some new wheels, which is pretty freaking sick. We got the Kano and the Treble. It's finally happened. It's a real thing. They're here. I've seen them. I've touched them. I'm going to be putting them on my car.
Me too.
So, yeah, you can put them on your car now. I promise. I know we said that we were releasing them like a year ago, and I'm really sorry. But
Also, a lot of you have, or some of you have messaged me and been like, take my money. I'm like, we can on August 19th.
There you go.
yeah, that's true.
They look sick, you guys. I mean, I didn't have a part in designing them, but I've seen them.
Yeah.
Metallic finish looks great.
Yeah, the gray turned out so good.
It did.
I think we talked about that in the last podcast. We kind of talked about like the ups and downs of the production and kind of
It's weird how
evaluation of everything.
the gray turned out so good. It makes me like question, do I want chrome? Because the gray looks so
good.
good.
It does look really good,
But
we'll see.
chrome time. So we're talking about BMWs today.
Really?
Yeah, because you own a BMW.
I did.
You own all BMWs.
All sorts of
If BMW made a pickup truck, would you buy that?
Definitely.
Okay.
I've
BMW
had the
pickup truck?
X5, which is like the closest thing I guess.
Just chop the back off.
Big SUV, and
That's
now they've
true.
got like X7s, which are massive SUVs.
And they're fast too.
Yeah, I mean, all cars these days in general. Even
Just
outside of
ridiculous
BMWs,
power.
Like the
Yeah.
new stuff,
Yeah.
they put turbos on it, you slap a tune on it, and
It's-
they're fast.
it's crazy.
Somehow,
Yeah.
I still can't break the 200 horsepower barrier.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys weren't there, but I was there. And we were
sorry.
a few drinks in, and Jake and Giles had just had their BMWs hailed on.
Yeah,
we
like
took a trip to
demolished, absolutely demolished.
It was really bad.
Drinking the
Thanks
pain
for
away.
bringing this back.
Yeah,
Sam.
we're talking
I
about
finally
BMWs.
put this
So
in the
we're
the
bringing
back of
this
my
back.
memory.
Sam couldn't
Dakota
believe
and I were just sitting there, and we're all having a few adult beverages, talking about the fastest cars that we've, I think, owned.
Yeah.
And Jake just destroyed Gels. How slow Gels cars were.
Well, I couldn't believe it. We're all talking
it was
about
really
like,
fun. I didn't take offense to it at all because it's like I'm used to it. I know what I've chosen to do, and it was Jake was just like, I was like, what's the fast car? And I was like, oh, it's probably the 328, honestly. And he was like, what? And he just like
That's
lost it.
Yeah.
I literally just remember seeing the look on like Dakota and Sam's face, like,
oh, no.
God. And I'm just I'm crying laughing. Like,
I just forget, like, you know,
Yeah.
I've seen him with the cars he's had while he's been here. He's got, you know, the RX-8.
Which looks like it should be really fast.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah. That's what people think.
It looks flashy. Even the FRS was done up all
Yeah.
nice. I just forget that
They're not
Jones
fast.
forgot to turbo them.
oh, yeah, that forgot.
Yeah.
So let's talk about
Factory
some
forgot.
pros and cons of BMWs with you, because you're like a BMW guy, and
Yeah.
to be honest, BMWs have like been more and more popular for Anovia because we have the BMW bolt pattern. I think the Titan and Elder.
Titan Elder,
definitely.
yep.
Those are the ones we've got. So, like, what in your experience, Jake? I mean, what do you like about BMW? Let's start there. Let's start with the good.
Yeah, what started it all?
Yeah.
Good,
Yeah. What
huh?
started with BMWs? Because I mean, you've owned more than just BMWs, obviously, but like,
well,
we're
at this point, it's
now
a lot
it's
of BMWs.
Yeah, a lot of BMWs.
I hear a lot of
Yeah.
because I hear about this Miata that you used to
Yeah.
have.
You
You
drift
used to be a
king.
little JDM
So
hot
I'll
boy.
give you guys a little quick story. Yes, the Miata was probably one of my first favorite cars. And at the time, rear-wheel drive, I bought a Miata thinking it was front-wheel drive. So I'm going to go ahead and
So
admit
you were
that caution
happily surprised at
right
that.
away. I went to test drive this thing. It was a raggedy turbo Miata. that-
So it was pre-turbo before you got it.
Yes, it
Okay.
was already turboed, nothing else really done. Got in that thing, the seller at the time took me for a ride, and he's like, are you ready? I'm going to step on it. And this is very early in my car loving career, so I didn't know what to expect from a turbo Miata, but he floored it, and I was like, oh my God, that was crazy. It was making a little over 200 wheel horsepower.
That's pretty fast for Miata.
Yeah, and I just remember the rear end like,
Okay,
shifting
loose.
around, and I'm like, this is not front wheel drive. This is not what I expected, but I was hooked. Like the speed alone.
Yeah.
I ended up buying that thing for like $4,000. I think it was probably about 10 years ago. So that's when I got a Miata.
It'd be like 15K right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So you said it was a little raggedy. You fixed it up pretty nice. I remember seeing
fixed the
pictures. It
Miata
looked
up.
pretty
that
good.
was like my really, I was forced to be a car guy at that point because I bought a Miata that was requiring quite a bit of work. Kept breaking down. It had like an air fuel ratio gauge, and I didn't know what that was at the time. So I'm like, seeing this
Why
thing
do you
go all
keep
the way.
saying 5?
Yeah,
Like, that's
and it'd
weird.
run really bad, and I'd notice the thing would just be like pegged out at 10, running super rich.
At least it was rich
Yes.
and not just melting your pistons.
Uh-huh. So that was fun. That kind of got my hands dirty with that car. Previous to that, I had a Ford Focus that I, found friends to help me put nitrous on and do
Just normal stuff, yeah.
normal stuff. And then this Miata kind of introduced me to car meets, and I was hanging out with some people and met a couple people that had BMWs, and we'd all go like hooning around. We called it. We'd drift around in this rear-wheel drive, and they had an E36. And one day threw me the keys, and he's like, just go rip it. It was again a raggedy E36.
Yeah.
And it was just so fun. Like the inline 6-cylinder sounded great. I think you just cut the mufflers off, but to me, it sounded great.
It was loud.
Yeah.
When you're like 18, 19, it's like, yeah, it sounds crazy good.
Awesome. Like,
He had
whoa.
a limited slip where my Miata was still open diff.
Oh,
so
that
this thing-
changes things.
Yeah. And it was just like driver focused. When you sit in a seat of a BMW, now some of the modern ones I can't say as much, but even the dash, it's all kind of just angled towards the driver a little bit.
Yep.
It's really about the driver's experience in the car, and I just loved it. It was a small little car, had a ton of fun with it, and then I found myself buying a $1,000 rotted out E36 shortly after that, and
Those are the
what
best.
got me into it.
So is it kind of like once you got one, was it just a rabbit hole where you just wanted to like get a better and better BMW, or like, because some people like Gels, for instance, I mean, you've jumped around between like JDM stuff, now you got a like, BMW as well, and like a whole bunch of like, just myself included, like USDM, Euro, like JDM, like, but you seem to like find the BMW, then like stayed on that path. Like what kind of kept you going down that?
I don't know. I mean, I initially bought that $1,000 E36 as my winter beater.
Yeah.
I still had the Miata that I would drive summer, but I mean, 200 horsepower. It eventually was like 250. Convertible winter doesn't make sense in Wisconsin. So I got the E36 as my winter beater, and I found myself driving that more and more and more. And I fixed that one up to be as nice as I could, and then I bought my 135. So I still have that car.
Damn, you
I've
went
had it
straight
for-
from the
whoa.
E36 to the 135?
Yeah.
That's a big jump.
Holy shit.
I was like,
That's a big jump.
I just fell in love with BMWs because my friends had E30s at the time,
right,
and
yeah.
some-
Yeah.
a 540, E39 540. So I had been around various different BMWs and driven a couple of them and just loved everything about it. Super big money pits, but I just couldn't stay away. And at this time, saw on the highway one day, I was just cruising, saw a fully blacked out, small, modern coupe. Now this was in probably like 2010 or 2011. Just fly past me on the highway. No badges, it just had an M logo on the rear trunk. 2-door coupe, and I'm like, what the heck was that? It was like a wide stance. So I ended up looking it all up and realized it was the 1M. So at the time that just came out, and I saw that car just fly past me, and I'm like, that thing was sick. I need something like that. And the 135 was the non-M version of that car, so I had that up. I was looking for a 135 or a 335 because they were turbo, and I knew from what I heard that people were making them really fast. And if I was going to replace the Miata, I wanted something that would be faster than the Miata was. So I needed something turbo, and then I bought the 135, and it's been a rabbit hole.
So your 135 is more than just fast, though. I mean, right now it's not so fast, but
stupid fast.
Yeah. So why don't you explain a little bit of what you did to that? Because if you went from an E36 to that car, that's a crazy jump.
But it wasn't what it is today when I got it. I got it stock.
Which is even more impressive.
Yeah. 10 years ago, bought a 135 that had like tint and they spray painted the wheels and night shaded the headlights.
Oh,
and yeah, 2010. yeah. So
it was a different time.
Yeah, it was.
Basically, with that car, I sold the E36 to get the money for the down payment on the 135.
2010. I was a freshman in high school.
Yeah, I was.
You're old.
Like a sophomore in college. Yeah, just turned 30. But with that car, I heard online, you just put a tune on it, and it's really going to wake the car up. So right away, I took all the ricey stuff off and put a set of BBS LM reps on it with the BBS center caps. Let's go.
You sin! You sinner!
So now you guys know my two really bad car things. Thought of Miata was front-wheel drive.
That's way worse.
Oh, yeah, the LM reps is.
I would have respected you more if you just kept the other center caps.
I know.
Yeah.
Or even like do the normal BMW thing and just put the BMW center caps back in.
I should have.
Yeah, that's acceptable.
Yeah. So I put a tune on it one weekend with my buddy. We wired in a piggyback tune, a JB4, and it has adjustable maps.
Wait, had he done this before? Or is this
No, this is both.
So you're like on
And-
like 2010 forums, like,
Yes.
all right, this is how it should work.
There's no like videos of this stuff.
It's like pictures on
and
Imgur
then
or
listen
whatever.
to this.
You had to
I
sign
go
in.
in there in the ECU. It's under the hood. This big box of stuff.
Yep.
And we're trying to figure out how to inject this piggyback.
Oh my God.
system. And we're in there and we're like, this doesn't look normal. And we looked shit up online. I don't know if I can swear, but
Oh yeah, you can swear. Like, I don't give a fuck.
And did some research to find that someone installed like the first version of some sort of tune on this car.
Oh,
anyways.
so it was tuned.
It didn't work.
Oh.
So
it was wrong.
turned off or not wired correctly, but it was in there and it was like pinned in. So this tuner required you to de-pin all the stock harnesses and then pin in this thing with like 40 wires.
Oh my God.
So to install the new tune that I bought, this new JB4 piggyback tuner, we needed to de-pin all that, put it back to stock, and then plug it in.
Oh my
It was
God.
a full weekend.
We are
of
freaking like spoiled with like tuning capabilities nowadays.
Now you can get these cars literally with your phone and a Bluetooth thing and flash it and make 500 horsepower.
Yeah.
But back then, this was
Yeah.
about all you could do. So we finally figured that out. It was a full weekend in my parents' garage. Got it figured out. And we take it for a drive. I put it on map 1, which was like the most conservative map. And I let it warm up, got up to temp, and I got on the gas, and I was laughing.
Like,
it
this
was
is crazy.
so silly. It took it from like 6 or 7 pounds of boost to like 11 or 12.
Holy cow.
Damn.
And
That's
I don't
really
know, at
impressive.
the time, that was very noticeable to me.
Oh, I
It
mean,
felt
you're
like
double
boost.
40,
I mean, you're literally
40,
doubling the amount of boost that you had,
horsepower.
Is that about like what the stock turbos and fuel and all that can handle?
Oh,
or?
no.
Oh, really?
So then I felt that, and within the same
That
drive,
was it.
I'm like, they say there's map 5 that we can do if we put just a little E85 in. So let's go to the gas station. The stock fuel system can take, like 3 gallons of E85, the rest 93.
Yep.
And then we're going to put it on this map 5 and try that.
Oh my
so
God.
we go there, fill it up, change it to map 5, and then it was the same thing again. It was like another 50 horsepower.
Holy crap.
And at that
Jesus
point, I
Christ.
was just hooked.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I put some intake filters on it and, just had a tune right out of the box. And it went from, they come with about 300 rated stock. And I dynoed it stock and it made about 280 to the tire. And I'm guessing that was probably like 340, 350 with the 85.
That's crazy.
That's crazy.
That's a big difference.
Yeah. I went full bolt on.
So is that kind of what sparked, like, obviously you had the YouTube channel start up as well. Is that kind of what sparked everything? You're like,
Yeah.
looking stuff up and you're like, oh, I can do videos. Or like, what kind of all started that?
Yeah, I guess I should now the car is a full-blown gutted single turbo 800 wheel horsepower machine. The car has evolved way past what I ever thought it would. So that's a little context for the viewers when they're saying, now this car is crazy. What led you to that? But that initial, it was like a high from drugs, I would assume, when I first got it and did those things and gained so much power. I was constantly chasing that.
The next step,
That adrenaline feeling of
So I was
holy
like,
shit.
More. And the car went through phases. It's been 8 or 9 years since then, and it's been slow steps along the way. It wasn't just a stock, one phase, and then now it's this crazy car. So
it's been a
if I would have
continuous
done
growth.
this, it probably would have saved me a lot of money to just go from step 1 to step 2. But there's 30 steps in between where I tried getting the most power out of the stock turbos, so I did full bolt-ons, downpipes, an E85 fuel pump to get about 450 wheel out of the stock turbos.
Jeez.
So I ran that for a while. It's about 21 pounds of boost through the stock twins.
Mm-hmm.
Did some half-mile racing events, roll racing events, and that got me hooked on going faster. I was racing, at the time, CTSVs and C6 Corvettes, Shelby GT500s, and it was always pretty close.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to beat those guys. And my friends,
It's like you're
locally,
just right there, yeah.
My friends were modifying their cars. All my friends are mostly into domestic stuff at this point, going fast. They've got G8s and Trans Ams, Camaros, Corvettes. And we would always kind of just go with each other.
Yeah.
My buddies with their Asas, they'll do intake, headers, cam, tune, exhaust,
Collar day.
full bolt on, and they were right with me when I was on stock turbos maxed out. Well, then they went supercharged, then they went turbo,
And that's a whole different
and
game.
I'm now far behind.
Yeah.
So that's when I was like, I got to upgrade my turbos.
Yeah.
So I actually put on a big set of twins, hybrid turbos, and then shortly after blew the motor. So that was making a little bit over. It was probably around 600 horsepower. And I didn't have the tune quite dialed in. I had some ignition issues where spark and fuel weren't happy, and I probably should have not been still pushing the pedal all the way down. But had a misfire that never went away then.
And that did it.
So then put in another stock engine, because these engines, this is another thing I like about BMWs.
They seem
their
pretty
engines
bulletproof,
are pretty robust. I don't know of a lot of their engines that fail.
Is that the whole rod bearings thing?
Yeah, well, I mean, as long as you preventative engine maintenance.
Wait, preventative engine maintenance
By adding
changing
400 horsepower.
the rod bearings.
Yeah.
That's normal.
Yeah. In my head, it's normal.
Okay.
So I only know BMW at this point, but
That's fair. You ask a Subaru owner that too. They say the same thing. It's
Does
like,
engine
oh
replacement?
yeah, it's just
that's
it's
what
just,
I hear about. Is like Subaru,
every
boom.
car has their stupid thing. The 4G63s, you got the crankwalk issue. The Subarus just blow head gaskets and ringlands. Rotaries blow apex seals, and BMWs apparently just have
rod bearings,
Yeah.
carbon buildup.
Subframe's cracking in half.
Okay, that's
older, but
each
yeah.
generation has its own. It's not this conglomerate thing in one model where
It's
the
not
valve
unique.
seals
Every brand has
We just
their
condition ourselves.
stuff.
That's
Yeah.
we just condition
It makes you
ourselves that it's
wonder, like,
normal. And
who's engineering these things?
Well-
Because you'd think after 40 years making cars, you'd like had it figured out.
You
right?
know
I
that
think
people
they
are
have
trying to make 800 horsepower.
Yeah, I think they have it
a
figured
200
out
horsepower
for the people
power
driving
plant.
to work and like doing
Okay.
some windy roads when you're
about
like,
those people.
yeah, those
Yeah.
people are boring.
Yeah.
No, just kidding. If you're one of those people, you're cool. Not as cool as Jake, but you're cool.
Yeah, he makes that known. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, what is your guys' experience with BMWs? I'd love to know.
I mean, honestly, like our stories are pretty similar. My introductory was a $900 rotted out E36 winter beater.
Yeah.
It was a 325i sedan. It was manual, had like
Let's
200,000
go.
miles on it. It was like crashed into a fire hydrant at one point. So like the passenger side, like fender was all caved in. Not me. I bought it like that. And I was like, yeah, I'll fix it up one day. And then I was like, no, I'm just beat the fuck out of this thing. And,
That's exactly what happens.
I ended up owning the car for like 5 years, and I had to pop start it all the time because like there was some weird electrical gremlin that I could never figure out. So like whenever it rained or like it was damp, it would, I think, like would short or like ground out somewhere or not ground out, and like I couldn't get the car to like kick over, so I'd have to like leaving
sound like
leaving my
Brad
freaking
Pitt.
like
God,
leaving my
so
office job. Like everyone's got like their nice cars like in the winter, and I'm just like in my freaking like snowsuit like pushing this thing out and just like hopping in. Just, they're like,
my
we pay you
God.
enough. I'm like, yeah, no, it's good.
I like
It's
this.
good.
Yeah,
sort of thing. Car guy stuff.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm fine. I want to put all my money in my other car, and they're like, all right. So,
Oh, that's hilarious.
yeah, so I had that car honestly for quite a while, and then eventually it got to be too much. It was like things were the subframe was just clunking super
Yep.
bad, and
Yep.
I think the shocks were just blown out on it, and I was sick of pop starting
Like
it. and-
triggering all these things I forgot about
Yeah.
with mine.
Yeah, the fenders were all rusted out. The driver's side window actually would always just like fall like down.
Window regulators, BMW didn't figure it out until late 2000s.
The shift knob always would fly off.
Yeah.
Like if I shift too hard, it just like fly into the back seat.
Forget, these are, I just consider these core normal BMW problems.
Oh, this
and
is
if it happens,
this is
it's
normal.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing. The radio, like nothing on the radio would work. Like all like there's like 100 buttons that did nothing. It was like, all right, the warning lights are always on. No, it was a great beater car, and I enjoyed it. And I was like, I always told myself I kind of want to get like a nice E36 at one point again,
Yes.
just because like you said, like you sit in them and it feels good. Like I don't know, there's something about like the design of like the interior. It was super simple yet like nice, and it was just a fun car to drive. And then I just kind of dumped that. I just sat out back my parents for a while, and then I think someone demo derbied it or something now.
Oh,
But
geez, she's got a.
She died.
got
yeah, she
pass
died.
Yeah, it's done.
So yeah, and then I just recently, last November, just picked up a 328 X-Drive E92 or
Yep.
E90.
She looks good on those Elders.
Thanks,
It
man.
does.
Yeah, and I just wanted something that was like decent. Like it's all-wheel drive. Like I can have a solid daily. I've had bad luck with dailies in the last few years.
Does the radio work?
The radio works
Does the
great.
shift knob fly off?
It's automatic, so no.
There we go.
Does the window fall down?
Window doesn't fall down.
Sounds like
It,
a good BMW.
yeah, it starts.
There we. Yeah, you're not
Without
top
push starting it.
start.
Yeah.
The fuel rail didn't like pop off yet and almost catch the whole thing on fire. So
That's good.
yeah.
I remember my E36. I got it for a winter beater, and then I found out the heat didn't work. So I had a winter beater with no heat, and I just
Beater with no
remember-
heater.
Yeah,
No, literally.
driving this thing around, and the only time you get a hint of heat would be if you're at like 6K
Yeah.
RPMs.
Just wafts
the
it a
heater
little bit.
core must start doing
Yeah.
something, and oh man, I had heated seats. That was the only source of heat in that car.
Oh my God.
Yeah, my heated
Luxury.
seats too. They were nice. 1995 with heated seats. I was like, dang, this is good. I remember I had it in college. I was driving home. It was middle of winter, and it was like I got off work at like O'Reilly's, and I was like, all right, I'm gonna go home like tonight. And it was like 8 in winter. That's like super dark. And like I was driving from Menominee, Wisconsin to Park Falls. So middle of nowhere to middle of nowhere. And it's like just country highway through the woods. And it's cold. And all of a sudden, like halfway home, I lose heat. I'm like, oh my God. Like called my mom, was like, hey, like, just letting you know, car's being a little weird. If something happens, like I'll be fine. I'll like pull off on the side of the road or whatever. But like I might not make it home. I might just pull off and like, or maybe like turn around. And she's like, oh, okay. So I ended up limping it home. And I was like, oh, I bet like the thermostat just went out or something like that. And so I went, replaced the thermostat while I was home. And on the way back, found out that it wasn't the thermostat. It was actually the water pump, like actually just had disintegrated. So it wasn't actually doing anything.
Air-cooled BMW.
And all of a sudden I'm just like, I'm just like watching the temp gauge on the way home because I'm just like constantly like, oh god, okay, it's
like, wow, it's warm now.
You know, and it's like, and it just kind of like started doing it. All of a sudden, just like spiked it, and I was like, yo, what the? It just, boom! I was like smoke screen. The car stalled out. I was like, yo, what the fuck? Like, I had no brakes, like no power steering. I was like, yo, what the hell? So yeah, the pump like actually disintegrated, and then I guess like one of the pieces just ended up like clogging everything and just blew the whole system like sky high.
That's fun.
He wanted to still buy another BMW later in his life.
Yeah.
That car was ridiculously fun.
Wow. I've never owned a BMW, so
I beat the fuck out of that car.
I mean, that's what they're meant for.
Yeah.
I will say, like at the track, I haven't seen a BMW die. And I've seen some pretty ratty E36s.
Yeah.
Just like
They might
getting
have
clutch
tons of
kicked.
problems, but
They just
they
keep
won't kick
going.
the bucket.
Yeah.
No, and I mean, until you start putting like a lot of horsepower at them, they don't seem like they're like fatally flawed in any way. But once you start putting a lot of horsepower to it, then you start to see some Achilles heels where like the subframes. Like a couple of my friends have had subframes crack, and I mean, that's not what BMW meant the cars to do.
Yeah.
But like the M motors, oh my God, they don't stop. Like red line, and I'm like, that is a lot of rev limiter, and they just keep going, and yeah.
And I don't know if it was my broke-ass college kid mentality, but like I would hop in that thing and go 300 miles. Like just without even thinking about it.
Same.
I'm like, yeah, I'll have to like pop start it a couple times, but like I'll drive across the state.
Yep.
And then I'll look back at it, I'm like, that was so fucking stupid.
Yeah. Looking at it now, I think about sometimes I'll see cars like that, and I'm like, that was me, and I trusted that thing to take me anywhere.
Just no second
trip
thought. Yep.
To a different state, no questions asked. She'll get me there and back, and I'm surprised that I had that mentality. So.
Yeah. I mean, I think when we're younger, it's that it's not going to happen to me sort of thing. Like, oh, I'll be good. Like, don't worry
and
about
I'm
it.
just used to like stuff going wrong. So if something goes wrong, like, sure, it'll happen, but I'll still get there and back. Like, it's not going to catastrophically.
So I think overwhelmingly, what I'm hearing is they're fun cars to drive, and that's like what my experience has been like at the track too. Is like they seem like they handle great. Like they're just very driver oriented, but like they have their quirks, but like make up for it in just a driving experience you can't really get in a lot of other cars.
And my focus really has been on that E90, E92 generation era. I'm a big advocate of it, even though some people say there's some unreliable aspects of it. From 2007 or 8 to 2012, with the N54 and N55 in the 3 Series, and 1 Series, and 5 Series, anything with a 35i at the end of it, I don't think you can get a better bang for your buck if you want something that's got luxury, that looks good, and that can make 500-600 horsepower.
Yeah, pretty easily. Yeah,
without a ton of work, without a ton of money, and it'll hold up to it. Like, the only reason I've had an engine issue is because of the tune not being sorted out. It was really on me. And then the second time, I've had my car at about 800 wheel horsepower for 3 years, pushing the boundaries, pushing the platform forward to get our vendors to keep investing in the platform, and trying to make content on that to get other people inspired. And I feel like you can go pick something up for, I don't know what they're at these days, but there was a time where you could find a 335 for $7-8 grand. Now
I think they're up to
like 10 and 12 for like a lower end one. But really, $1,000 in mods can take that car a long way.
And that's something that I feel like, you know, at least recently, or up until recently, with like some of the newer like Japanese cars coming out, like we were kind of missing. Like it was either like, all right, well you got either the Evo or the WRX. Those are your two choices, and for like, you know, tunability and stuff like that. And I feel like a lot of people forgot about the European side of that, where you got like the BMWs, you got like the GTIs and stuff that you throw a couple bolt-ons and a tune-on, and you got yourself a pretty rowdy car.
Even Audi. Audi's starting to make some stuff where, you know, I read about TTRS and some of the S3, S4, S5s. You throw a tune on.
They're figuring those out.
Yeah.
So we're trying to keep these a little more condensed for the podcast, because Giles and I would ramble a little bit. So
that never
fall
happens.
down that
I think all three of us could. So like to kind of like condense things a little bit, like what else, like key things like coming from a big BMW guy is like you really connect with BMWs, or like something you like really wish they'd change or like not do that you feel is like a downside?
Oh boy, something came to my mind right away.
Oh, what's that?
The damn wheel bolts. I don't know why they still do that.
Freaking lug bolts are the worst.
So, when I got mine, I remember taking the wheels off, and I'm just like, this is so stupid. I have to like get the wheel on there perfectly, all lined up, and then put a bolt through. It's like, why don't you just put studs on it?
Yeah.
And then you slide a wheel on, put the nuts on.
That's a German thing, isn't it?
And they still do it.
Yeah.
After everyone hates it.
Yeah.
I even did research on this to figure out why are they still doing this, and I really couldn't find anything
really
that was
bizarre.
worth it, because you go to the track, everyone converts them to studs anyways. Yeah. I convert all mine to studs as soon as I buy it if I plan on keeping it.
The first time I took my wheels off, I legit thought like I pulled the stud out, and then I realized that it was a bolt, and I'm like, oh, this is weird. This is the E36. I was like, what did I do? And then like I pulled the second one out, and I was like, what is going on? And I was like, oh, it's a bolt.
The good news, though, if you want to run a spacer, it's probably really easy to get just extended bolts.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
But, yeah, it's just
not
silly.
worth it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as trivial as that is, that's definitely one thing I don't know why they keep doing.
I have yet to find one person that has been pro lug bolt.
Me either.
Probably someone that works at BMW. This is the best way to make the bolts.
The BMW stereotype guy.
So German accent is just top tier.
Other than that, the new stuff is pretty controversial. You know, I know like the new M's and the big grills and that sort of stuff gets people talking.
Are you pro big grill or anti big grill?
I feel like every 5 years, they increase the size, and people are like, "Oh my god, it's so ugly!" And then after 3 months, they're like, "Actually, I kind of like it." And then 5 years later, like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah, I mean, at this point, can they get bigger though?
Yeah, I
It's
know.
gonna be the whole hood. I have not hit stage gels where it's been like, I think it looks good. Every time I see it on the road, I'm like, oh, it's not.
The new X7 is the meme that you'll see of like the SUV with the big, and I've seen that in person, and those are big. I will say that. But as far as like the G80 and G82
I
M3
really
and
like
4,
the G80.
those look really good in person.
Yeah.
When they first came out, I remember seeing the pictures online, and I'm like, this ain't it.
Yeah.
And then I remembered that's exactly what I thought when I first saw the F80 and F82. So I also have an F80 M3, 2015 M3. And coming from the E90 body style, when that F80 came out in 2015, it looks way different than the E90.
Yep.
It's aggressive, it's got hard lines, and I remember seeing it and I'm like, this looks weird and I don't like it.
Yeah.
And then a couple months go by and you're like, you keep seeing them, and other manufacturers are pushing the boundaries, making cars look a little different, and it starts to blend in and look really good. That's how I feel like the G80 is. I went down to Florida for a car show earlier this year, and everyone down there had these cars, and they were modified, and I will say they look really, really good.
Yeah,
modified.
they do. They look
It's
so
an
good.
aggressive car.
Some carbon on there, some wheels, drop it down a little bit, like they look really good.
And I think BMW personally too has done, at least recently with like the last couple generations, the freaking like colors that they've come in, like some of those like wild, like the gold one of like the last generation looks super good. I really like the new green that's on like the G80s, like just something like it's a little out there, a little different. I think they've been killing it with the colors, and it's like it's something nice. It's not just gray and black. Like it's a little wild, and I like those wild colors. So.
Agreed. I think they give you that option for the M cars to really go crazy.
And I also say that, like, as much of a shock factor that they do have, like when that next generation comes out, I'd say that all of like at least like for the 3 Series and stuff like that have aged pretty well. Like if you look at like the E36, like has aged really well. The E46 decently well. The E90s, E92s, like people still love those a ton. And I think the G80s are going to be like, you look back on those in like 10 years, like that still looks like a really good car.
Yeah.
Like
I never thought about that. Just looking back on all the 3 Series generations.
Yeah, there's
not
like,
one that people are like, oh, that's like the bad one.
Yeah, no. I feel like some of like the 5 Series get a little iffy, like, but I think for like the 3 Series for the most part, like you look back and they're like, damn, they had nothing is like, ooh, that didn't age well, or like it kind of looks really outdated or something like that. But
Yeah, they're always like very good for their time, and they don't look out of place. Like I think you said it well, Jake, where it's like you look at what other manufacturers doing, like Toyota and Lexus, same company, like their grills are getting huge, so it's like it does start to blend in, and it's
Yeah,
like,
Lexus especially, the whole freaking bumper's a grill. No
Yeah.
one cares about that.
It's just because the kidneys are iconic.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
You see the nostrils of the car on a BMW all the way back from the late 80s. Or,
You know
I
what
mean,
it is.
forever,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
You know, and people see those evolve, and that's why I think it's like a controversial thing.
Yeah.
But you won't see, like you said, on a Lexus, or on a lot of Kias, you see a whole front grille with
look at
EQ
Corey's car,
sensors
like
and
the whole front
cameras, and
section.
they try to make it blend in, but the whole front of the car is still a grill. But yeah, it is what it is. I think it's because like pedestrian to vehicle crash laws or something. I was reading up on it because in Europe, I think they want that protection of not just a steel front end. They having a big grill gives some give. if
Actually,
you
a
were to-
crumple zone up
Yeah.
there.
That's why I put bash bars in my cars, because I don't want a pedestrian to hurt my bumper.
Yeah, if someone's stupid enough to walk out in front of my car, it's gonna be the last thing that they do.
Yeah,
It's-
yeah. So I got steel dash bars. So if you guys see me coming down the road,
Look out for
it's
Sam.
not
If you
safe. Yeah.
see a 240
He sees
just
a family crossing the
screaming.
street and he hits the pedal.
Yeah, dump
It's like, hey
that
kids,
clutch.
watch this.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Get out of the way though. All right,
On
so
that note,
if you were to get a BMW right now, if you were
Yeah.
to go get something, what would it
wanna
be?
know. Anything,
I
no
don't-
price.
I don't know if this counts, but Alpina, does that count as a BMW, even though it's technically an Alpina?
I would say so.
Those I think are like top tier, like the coolest. There's one at our local Bergstrom that I almost bought. I was looking for a new car, and they had it marked for $26K. And the guy's like, "Do you know what this is?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's an Alpina." And I like talked to him about the company. He's like, "Wow, no one here knows what that is." And I was like, "All right, can I get it for 22?" And he's like, "No, but like it's negotiable." And I won't say I was close, but I did think about buying it. But then I was like, "Man, the maintenance on this and insurance is
Yeah.
going to be crazy.
Yeah.
Like I don't want to have to deal with that." But I'd say that, or like a 2-door like 3 Series, the 954. Like that's
That
probably
Melzy era.
a white one.
Yep.
Honestly, if I had a white one lowered and probably throw some like black Titans on, I think it would look dope or something like that. And,
Yes. Well, I have to do it. So
yeah, that'd be what I'd do.
Jake,
What else
if
would you
there could be a next one,
I will say the F80 was like my realistic dream car that I was really hoping to own before I had a true midlife crisis. So I achieved that. And I'm just enjoying that right now. I think if I were to get another one, there's a couple I would love to own one day. E39 M5. So
Oh, those
early
are very
2000s
cool. Yep.
5 Series.
Those are timeless.
Yes. One of those would be super cool. Another clean E36 M3. Like that would be
wasn't
awesome.
That the E39, wasn't that a James Bond movie? Didn't he drive one of those?
I don't know. Probably.
Because he had like a remote control thing like in the back seat that he was driving it from. Because it was weird, because it wasn't an Aston Martin. I remember it was like a big
that's
deal.
not right.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I don't watch James Bond. I'm terrible. When people bring up pop culture in movies, I'm
Movies,
just like, I don't do that.
That's
I don't
okay.
watch that stuff.
Either way, I was
He's
just
working
those-
on the
those are
car.
Very timeless cars.
Yeah.
I think that 5 Series is like,
I think either of those. And then if I could get something new, I will say the G80 would be pretty cool to own one day. Otherwise, like my dream car is a GT3 RS, a Porsche.
Okay.
That's
That's
what
not-
everyone
that
makes
makes
sense.
BMW.
That makes sense.
No, that's like people graduate
It makes
from
sense,
a
though.
BMW
Like, that is-
into that.
BMW doesn't really have anything that's like really like there.
No, they've got like different trims and stuff.
I feel
on
like
cars.
Porsches when you
Yes,
reach
packages.
like peak like car guy maturity.
Yeah.
Like everything ends up coming into a Porsche at some point.
I'm never gonna own a Porsche. I don't,
That's fine.
I'm not a big fan of
I
Porsches.
drove a GT3 RS, and that's what sealed the deal for me. Driving one, the sound, the way they drive, I can't explain it.
Yeah.
You just will have to find someone that has a
I just
GT3 RS and drive it.
And
then,
if you won't own one, it'll at least be like you'll have like a newfound respect
Yes.
for it.
Oh, I think they're cool. Like I respect them. Like I think.
and then
they're
you have to find a whole
very cool.
boatload of money to go get one.
But I'd rather.
And you have to
own,
learn how to
like,
golf.
a GTR instead.
Yeah, your inner JDM voice.
Yeah.
coming out.
Yeah, that's fine.
A
Gels,
350Z
what about-
used to be my dream car.
Okay. Probably drive me out of boy. What BMW did you buy besides your one you have now?
I think either like an E36 M3 would be super fun. I really wouldn't do much to it. I'd probably keep it honestly kind of like OEM plus.
Good luck
just
finding
like-
one of those.
Yeah.
Exactly. Or there was a time where I absolutely fell in love with like the older like 8 series with like the pop-ups.
yeah?
like
Those are
slant
dope.
nose things.
Yeah.
Those would be
That'd be cool.
I'd fuck with one of those too. I think that'd be super
Retro.
sick. I just slam it. I just dump it on its nuts.
Okay. Well, cool. Well, thanks for coming on the podcast,
Yeah,
Jake. This is fun.
I
It was a
agree.
good time. Any closing words for the audience here?
No, I can't wait. I actually do have some closing words.
Oh.
I have some limited edition, only in the world, one set of 20-inch elders.
Yeah.
That's right.
20-inch elders that are gonna go on my F80. So I gotta get those mounted, and I think
Yes.
one day we will release that.
We will.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
giving you guys any dates because I tried
Yeah.
that once and it backfired horrendously.
I will give you a time frame.
But I will tell you that we made some 19s and 20s and they look really damn good. But I'm not giving you a date, but I will say that it will be in sometime.
I thought you were gonna say it will be someday in the
It will
world.
be someday. We have them. Jake has a set. We got the samples. I think we ordered them.
Yeah, they're ordered, and
So-
they'll come out between now and when they come out.
Yeah.
Is the time frame.
Yes. So be ready for that. I'm excited to see those on the car.
Maybe early next year.
Because I think we finally got the BMW Fitment.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's the thing I don't like about BMWs is their fitment.
Yeah, their Fitment
fucked.
sucks.
Yeah.
And it's different
the trim
for
can change.
325 to
And then
335
it's
if it
an
was
M,
like
yeah.
a 2011
It's-
versus 2015 or 14. a little
How low do you wanna
wider,
go?
Is a coupe, is a sedan.
On that note, guys, appreciate you listening or watching, however you digest this content. Wheels, tires, suspension, AnoviaWheels.com.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on, Jake. I'm
welcome.
Sam.
I'm Jake.
I'm Joe.
See you guys.
Bye.
Peace.